Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, where today I want to test how good the AI is. I'm going to let the AI do the picking. So we're going to go into custom battle. Let's click random a few times, and well, we're in 1940. I'm apparently the Empire of Japan. We have a battleship, 2 battle cruisers, 2 heavies, a light, and 2 destroyers. The enemy has 1 battleship, 2 battle cruisers, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser more, and 2 destroyers. Okay, fair enough. Design ship. Again, I'm going to let the AI do this as well. Unfortunately, I will have to pick what sort of ship I want to build. And judging by the previous setting, we only have 1 battleship. Or I could argue that I want to be building the battlecruiser or the destroyer or whatever. So, considering that everything is going to get randomly designed anyway, because I can only build 1 class, I'll go with the super battleship. And just click Auto Design. Alright, so it's building a ship with 18-inch guns. It has a couple of 6-inch secondaries, a couple of 4-inch secondaries, 6-inch on the tower. It has a super funnel. It has a diesel... Here we go again. It has a coal-fired diesel engine, induced boilers, auxiliary 1, shaft 1, croup 2? Okay. I wouldn't really recommend that, but sure. If that's what you want to run with, we'll do that. Barbette 2, anti-torpedo 4. Jesus, this thing is worried about torpedoes. Triple bottom hull, reinforced bulkheads 1, anti-flood 1. Citadel 3. Not necessarily a poor choice, but something like this gives you 15% resistance, and this gives you 7.5. But I won't change it. Bulkheads to maximum, speed at 28.5. Range, I'm going to leave that as is. It doesn't really matter that much. Super heavy shells, a reduced ammo count? Really? That gives me 195 shells per gun. Okay. Increased torpedo armament. Do we even have torpedoes? Look at that. There's even 2-inch guns. Okay. Anyway, do we have torpedoes? Look at that, the ship barely fits in the dry dock here. Well, not even a dry dock, since it's actually seemingly floated. I don't really see any torpedoes. Also, how did this end up here? That looks uncomfortable. Anyway, I don't think we have torpedoes on this ship. I don't really care. Just gonna leave it as is. TNT ammo, which is quite powerful. 5% extra shell penetration, more damage. 23-inch torpedoes on the torpedoes that we don't have. I can just switch this around and nothing happens to weight distribution. Electric propulsion, auto-reloaders, advanced hydraulic turrets, range-finding stereoscopic for long-range gunfire, radar 1 and RDF. Armor, I wonder what it picked. No, it's a little hard to see this. It has a 13.6-inch belt armor, 7.4 extended, 7.4 deck, 1.9 deck extended, 13.6 on the turret as well. Okay, 13.6 on the conning tower, 2.4 on the turret top, and 7.5 or 7.4 on the secondaries. How are we doing for engine power? 75.4%. That's not bad. We got a decent long-range accuracy buff of 62%, a base accuracy of 54% thanks to tech base buffs. Aiming speed is quite good, communications range quite good. Okay, I say we take this ship, named the Mikasa, into battle. I remember the Mikasa is quite a different ship, but if this is what the game wants to call it. Now, I'm going to controlling this ship manually. I'm going to let the AI handle it. So the AI is going to be the one that controls how the ship moves, and with that also how the rest of the fleet moves. Here it is, the fleet. Let's see what they came up with for the rest of the ships. The DDs. The Harukaze. 33-knot ship. No armor. Many bulkheads. Yeah, you're going to need that if you have no armor. 5-inch guns, 2-inch secondary, or well, not 2-inch secondaries, just 2-inch guns, and 24-inch torpedoes. Okay, I don't really see what sort of propulsion they have. Also, they went with the reduced ammo count for the torpedoes. So these ships are, well, they're pretty useless, I'd say. They only got 1 launcher as well. Since you fire a set of 4 and I only have 10 ammo per launcher, I'm not really going to have a lot of capacity to do damage with the DD. Same goes for the Kusunoki. It does not have a lot of torpedoes. What battle cruisers did they design? 13-inch guns. Few bulkheads. Oh, are you kidding? It is fast, 34.5 knots. 8-inch casemate guns. Jeez, and a lot of those as well, by the way. Holy crap, this thing's armed to the teeth. 5-inch secondaries. That's one triple turret on the stern. A couple of dual turrets on the sides. And 3-inch... Is that in the tower? Yeah, that's 3-inch casemate guns on the tower. This one's same class, so I don't really have to look into that. My light cruiser. It has many bulkheads. A decent amount of armor. It has actually better armor quality than my battleship. 5-inch guns. On a light cruiser. Just 5-inch. Okay. Range of fire, 12.1. Ammo is quite good. We have an 8-second reload. We even have torpedo tubes, although not a lot of them. These are 23-inch torpedoes. I can fire 2 per side. They have... Yeah, and this is what I don't get. They picked the plus 35% ammo count for the torpedoes for this ship. Not for the destroyers, no, for the light cruiser. Heavy cruisers. The Sasso Sawa and the Izumo. This ship has 6-inch main guns. Lot of them. Holy shit, that's 8 turrets? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. That's 8 turrets. Of 3 guns each. That's a hell of a broadside. Good luck trying to hit anything with it, though. And then, for this type of ship, the AI said, you know what? I think 390 shells per gun is enough, don't you think? Sure. But we fire 6 rounds a minute. So we will not have a lot of ammo. They do fire high TNT at least. 4-inch secondaries, if you will. Torpedo tubes underwater and torpedo tubes on the side. 24-inch, 14-kilometer range, 13 per launcher reload, and then a couple more on the bow. Another 24-inch set. Again, not a whole lot of ammo, but at least they can send out quite a few torpedoes. And the Izumo is the same. Now, let's see how well the AI plays. I am not really going to be touching too much on what the ships are doing. I'm just going to let the AI derive everything. Because I wanted to experiment with this and see exactly how well the AI is capable of, well, designing ships and then combating itself with said ships. We know that the enemy is to the north. The Mikasa is turning, the Izumo's turning, the DDs are seemingly speeding out ahead at 33 knots. We have the light cruiser at 26.5. This thing might lag behind a little. Because it seems like the AI is keeping the Mikasa at full speed of 28 knots. Although it's still speeding up to actually get to 28. The battle cruisers can do 34.5. Pretty fast ships. I hope that these things can actually support the battleship quite a bit. We have our first target. What are we looking at here? I think those might be 18-inch dual barrels. It's an unknown US battleship, but it's carrying a lot of secondaries. Look at that, all over the place. There's just secondaries for days on this ship. But they're all pretty small caliber for a battleship. And interestingly, it has not yet detected me. So the first couple of rounds are going to be fired at this ship. And hopefully, for the moment at least, it will not be able to return fire. I have every ship set to auto-select ammo. And with that, I hope that the AI is going to pick the right shell for the right type of engagement. There we go. It has now been detecting the Mikasa. And the Izumo, the cruisers are getting detected. The battle cruisers... Yeah, we're now getting detected. Okay, this is probably their... heavy cruiser or battle cruiser. The game does not quite know what it is, but it is packing quite a punch. That's 12 guns of potentially 16 inches. Although the secondaries... I'm not seeing any torpedo launchers on the deck. But that does not mean that the ship doesn't have any torpedo tubes. What else can we see? Oh, nothing yet so far. I want to know what else they have. That's another heavy cruiser, because it's part of the same class apparently. I think that the battle cruisers are not engaging yet, the heavy cruisers are not engaging yet. The light cruiser's not in range at all. And it seems that the Mikasa just took some damage. Now I'm going to be trying to swap between the enemy fleet and my fleet, trying to see what's going on. The AI is going... They're going full broadside. Trying to get all those 18-inch guns to bear on the enemy. Unfortunately, it seems that the smokescreen might be throwing off the aim of the Mikasa. And I'm not even sure if it's their smokescreen or mine. The light cruiser's throwing up smokescreen for the Mikasa. The destroyers are throwing up a smokescreen basically for the whole fleet here. Unfortunately, the Mikasa itself is the only ship that can currently engage. And so far, some of the damage is bouncing off. Some of the shells that are coming in. I hope that that can stay for a while, because so far the enemy has drawn first blood. Done its first bit of damage, and I so far have not yet scored a single hit. Or actually, I scored a hit, but it ricocheted. Okay. My battleship's not very accurate. 8.7%. Shells are still going all over the place. Uh-oh. Is that this ship that's taking damage? Yes. It's the Mikasa that's taking a beating from potentially the battle cruisers. And has already taken damage to one of its bow turrets. Oh, what's going on here? What is going on here? This warship, whatever it is, it's the battleship, it got hit. Pretty damn hard. And it has several fires raging. The turrets all seem operational. Although that stern one is looking a little darker than it normally would be. I'm not sure if it's completely down for the count, but at least we got a decent hit in there. At this point I think that the battle it's the battle cruisers who are also joining the fight. Unfortunately, they are not at all accurate. 0.1%. So they're not targeting a battleship. What are you targeting? The game doesn't even know what they're targeting. That's weird. Now, I've done some damage, but I've also received some damage. The structural integrity for the Mikasa is down to 91%. Where are my DDs? Are they actually doing something useful? Sort of. They're kind of scouting for the rest of the fleet. And the Mikasa, at this point, might be the only ship that's actively getting engaged. And it seems that, yeah, the heavy cruisers... These things can only do 22 knots, and they're not even moving into range. So I'd say that the AI is playing this a little poorly. Because right now, the heavy cruisers, they have all those guns. They have those, what was it, 24 guns? Yeah, they have the 24 guns, but they're not using them. Because they're simply not in range. Seems that the Mikasa is really taking a beating, down to 81%. We're getting quite close to identifying this battleship. And in the meanwhile, this cruiser, which the game supposes is a light cruiser, but I'd say it's really not, is trying to get in on the action as well. Oh, and the Mikasa is going for the light, well, the supposedly light cruiser at this point. Its accuracy is atrocious, though. 2%. Now, a couple more ships have been spotted. This seems like a light cruiser. I don't really think that this is going to be too big of a threat. Because it seems like it just has a bunch of either 5 or 6-inch guns. We also have their destroyers. They already have their torpedo launchers angled towards me here on the stern. And a couple of... There come the torpedoes. Might be 5, might be 6-inch guns. I think 5 inches max on the destroyer. Now at this point all of my ships are fine with the exception of the Mikasa. And I think that the heavy cruisers are going to have to pull their weight against these destroyers. They're still not engaging targets. One of the DDs has torped. The Kusunoki. No idea what it's been firing at, though. Now, what's my battleship firing at? Is it firing at their... What on earth are you trying to hit? I'm trying to follow this red line over here, but it's not easy. Color blindness in this case does not help. The Mikasa is getting mauled, by the way. 68%. There's another turret that has been damaged. Yeah, it's going for this, what the game thinks is a battleship. And I think I would agree with that classification. The Kearsarge has been identified. 17-inch guns. Dual barrel. Pretty good accuracy. And then a bunch of 3-inch secondaries and some torpedoes. But only in the bow and the stern. So they're not that big of a risk. The other battleship might be a different class. I think it is a different class because it has a different... What could be an 8-inch turret over there. Now we did get some down... Oh, it's a battle cruiser actually. 15-inch guns. Lots of them. 12 guns. 7-inch secondaries, 4-inch secondaries, 3 and 2. No torpedoes. Mikasa down to 54%. I'm sorry guys, but this is not going to work out. I really need the Mikasa to do more damage and take less. But this is kind of what I was worried about when the AI went with that weird design of going with Krupp 2 steel. And then going with a lot of anti-torpedo protection. But not seemingly with a lot of anti-shell protection. And it's playing out exactly as I had, well, mostly expected. Because the ship just does not have a lot of defenses. It cannot defend itself against this much damage. Oh, something happened on the way to heaven here. As the Robinson just got its ammo detonated. Yeah, it's my DDs that were throwing up this fire. We killed off an enemy DD? Or what the game thinks might be a destroyer? No, it's a light cruiser. It might have been hit by a torpedo. Considering one torpedo did 4,500 damage, or 4,700 if you want to be exact. I think it might be the cruiser that sunk. There goes the Robinson. So despite the battleship taking a load of damage, we've already sunk 2 ships and lost none. Mikasa looks like it might be taking a little bit more of a distance from the fight. Damage to the secondary tower here on the DD. And this is when the battle cruisers are getting involved. And not just the battle cruisers, also these heavy cruisers. Look at that broadside. Keeps peppering the DD with those 6-inch guns. These reload very quickly. Little under 10 seconds. And they just keep throwing out shell after shell after shell. They have 3,000 of those on board. So that should be more than enough to keep the enemy at bay. I just wonder what's going to happen when one of the shells from their battle cruisers or battleship hits this armor. It's 7.4 plus 90%. Which means it's relatively survivable, but not against 15-inch shells, let alone 17-inch. Caused flooding on something. Maybe the Philadelphia. Yeah, I think the Mikasa is engaging the Philadelphia and doing good damage to it. The Benfold over here is, well, it's folding. It's flooding. And it's taking so much fire that despite being in smoke, it is not safe. Because all of these cruisers and the DDs are focusing fire on the Benfold. This poor ship has nowhere to go but back. And even that does not seem to really be saving it that much. Look at how much shells are coming in. Destroyed the funnel. Is this? Yeah, this is the Benfold. It's doing 17 knots. There's another good hit. The Philadelphia and the Lexington seem fine, and especially the Kearsarge is very healthy. That's their battleship. A little worried about that. Oh! Somebody got detonated. That was the end of the Philadelphia. Ammo wreck. Well, sort of. Ammo explosion. Ammo wrecked. Okay, so that's one battlecruiser less. That is great news for my cruisers. Because I was pretty worried about the damage that these battlecruisers could do against my either light cruisers or heavy cruisers. My battlecruisers here. Or sorry, not my light cruisers. Well, they're considered heavy cruisers according to the game. CA. Or armored cruisers if you want to be exact. I wouldn't call a 6-inch cruiser a heavy cruiser exactly. But I'm sure that the history buffs will know exactly when something is a heavy cruiser and when it's a light. Now fire has been switched away from the Benfold, is now focusing on the Charleston over here. The Charleston is under heavy fire, but so far seems to be avoiding most of it. Although it is heavily burning. The whole deck seems to be alight. And there is a lot incoming. There's another fire. They do have a lot of bulkheads though, many bulkheads. So they're pretty good at controlling these fires. Now at this point the battleship is still at 85 and the Lexington is at 97. Whereas my ship, Mikasa, is sailing away, meaning that it can still throw out those 18-inch shells, but with an accuracy that keeps dropping. I'm not sure if the AI has focused to retreat it, but it might have. Because, yeah, it's set to retreat. You can sort of see it grayed out over here, but that's what the ship is doing. That means that it is going to be slowly pulling away from the fight, leaving the battle, especially with that battleship, to the battlecruisers. And the the lead battlecruiser currently is really getting it. The Katsuragi currently trying to fight off the Charleston, while on the receiving end of fire from the Kearsarge and the Lexington. Damage to the main tower, it's flooding. Structural integrity down to 61%. 6.4-inch armor on this cruiser is not going to be enough. And this is one of the cruisers that has the bigger guns of this fleet at 13 inches. Now again, I'm not going to intervene with the Mikasa and tell that ship not to disengage. I just want to see what happens if you have a pretty even fight, as I would say, between two AIs. Which one wins? The AI here is doing something really weird. The Izumo and the Sanosawa keep their distance. These are those 6-inch gunboats. Those 6-inch cruisers. But at this range, they're not really likely to be assistance or be of any assistance to anybody. In the meanwhile, I'm not even sure where the DDs are heading. There goes the heavy cruiser. It's not exactly the heavy cruiser that I was expecting. But the Akitsushima is sinking. The other battlecruiser could be soon to follow, as it's down to 55. It's taken a lot of damage to its structural integrity. And it just keeps getting fired at from almost every ship. There you go. That's a load of damage. Ship is ablaze in several sections. 36 and dropping. Interestingly, the Benfold, that DD, is still around. Although it is withdrawing. It's not sticking around to continue with this fight. The SMO is trying seemingly to go after the Olympia here. The Olympia is a light cruiser. Or is it? It seems to have the hull of the light cruiser, but it has 9-inch guns on it. There you go, the Benfold completely disengaged. Olympia is being set afire. But is that enough? I mean, there's a lot of fire focusing on the Olympia, but this, I would say, currently is not the biggest threat. The biggest threat is still their battleship. And that battleship, the Kearsarge, this is going to be very hard to sink. Right now, the DDs are trying to set fires to it and seemingly succeeding, but I think it's shrugging off most of the fire from those ships. The only thing that could really hurt this ship, I think, would be the Mikasa. which has an accuracy of almost 3% at this rate, so it's really far away, but at the same time it's not taking that much damage anymore. He said, as another secondary gun got destroyed. But maybe torpedoes can still do some damage against the Kearsarge. The Lexington is, well, perfectly healthy, basically. The Charleston and the Olympia are now pushing up. And so is the Detroit. What are you doing with the cruisers? One of these cruisers has fired off its torpedoes, which means that a spread of 5 torpedoes is on the way to a ship that I don't exactly know. Yeah, there's a couple of torpedoes here in the water, but it's just the 2 of them. Must be from their lead, from their bow torpedo tube. If the Detroit maintains course, which I don't think it's doing, it's already making a turn, and throwing out a torpedo of its own, it could get hit. Oh, we have 2 more torpedoes here. If these are electric propulsion, then they could get to the Olympia without the Olympia detecting it in time. Taking out one of those heavies could be a very big help to the fleet. But then again, we still have the Kearsarge to worry about. The Olympia's trying to avoid and dodges, but not enough. 534 damage to the Olympia. It is flooding. Many bulkheads, so I think it will be able to stop that flooding and get it under control. In the meanwhile, the Detroit and the torpedoes have not exactly met up, and the Detroit is falling back. What was his name again? Katsuragi is falling back. It's withdrawing, leaving just the heavy cruisers. The light cruiser. I'm not sure if this thing has fired a single... Yeah, it has fired a couple of rounds. And the DDs, with no torpedoes, to fight off a almost perfectly healthy battleship, a battle cruiser, and a scattering of cruisers here. The Charleston, the Olympia, and the Detroit. Right now, the Lexington's burning. We're going to have to set a whole lot more fires. Torpedo hit on the Kearsarge. I think that might have been courtesy of one of the destroyers. But the destroyers are fresh out of ammo. And cannot do a repeat performance of that. So the Kearsarge will... Yeah, there you go. Flooding is under control. Kearsarge is probably going to be perfectly fine. Surviving the battle and not really having any worry in the world. Mikasa at this point is still firing. Now, interestingly, despite all that armor to the conning tower has been damaged. And that means that the accuracy is not exactly very good. But it's still firing. Oh, there goes the Detroit. As I was watching what was happening to the cruisers, or to the battle cruiser and the battleship, the Detroit actually sunk very quickly. Not too sure what happened there, but this thing is going down fast. Hold up. Is the game actually showing me that the bow is breaking off? Yes. I can still sort of look at the Detroit. You can see that the bow in the ship schematic is coming off. That looks painful. There are a couple of lifeboats. I'm not exactly seeing any occupants, and even the lifeboat is going down. I think there are no survivors from the Detroit. Oh, the Mikasa is still taking damage. The conning tower has been damaged and fire control has been damaged. Accuracy down to 1.2%. It's not going to be of any assistance against the battleship here and the Lexington. What are my cruisers planning? Not a whole lot. Let's speed up to 5 times, because I think that we're just going to see a battleship to battleship fight with not a whole lot else going on. It's trying to hit the Lexington currently. But aside from that, I'm not really seeing much. It's like all of the ships... Yeah, lost sight of the Katsuragi. That's the Lexington, by the way. It's like most of these ships are just withdrawing at this point. The Jinsu is steady, so it's not fleeing from the battlefield. The DDs, however, are falling back. We got a hit from a heavy cruiser. The Olympia hit the Katsuragi. Katsuragi is doing very poorly. It's just falling back. Now, I'm not exactly sure what happens when you fall back. I mean, it's not like it's a campaign battle, because that isn't out yet. So I don't think that there is an area of the map where the ship is just going to disappear, because it has fully withdrawn. And the same can be said for the battleship. The Mikasa is still trying to do damage. The stern 18-inchers are looking for targets, loading, firing. And it might still be trying to hit the Lexington. Judging by that previous salvo that just landed now, I think that we're trying to hit the Lexington. And the Lexington and the Kearsarge are now going for my heavy cruisers. The 6-inch cruisers. The Sanosawa is on fire. Took a hit to its damage control, or to its conning tower. It's on fire. That was a pretty big hit for a fire, though. Maximum bulkhead, so it should be containable. Sanosawa, with its small 6-inch guns, cannot return fire, because the ship is at too great of a range. Looks like the Mikasa was able to score a hit on the Lexington, caused temporary flooding, but it seems to be relatively quickly controlled. I'm not sure how to read this battle exactly. Because we sunk a couple of cruisers, they sunk a couple of cruisers. The DDs are out of torpedo ammo, so they're basically out of the fight. The Jinsu hasn't really seen that much action. This light cruisers seem to be pretty useless. Light armament, a couple of torpedoes, but nowhere near torpedo range. So I don't think that this ship did a whole lot. And that means that, well, maybe we should consider this a draw. Unfortunately, the game does not show you how much damage you've taken. So I don't know exactly how much damage I did, or rather, I know exactly how much damage I did to the enemy. But I don't know how much damage the enemy did to me. This, however, is not looking good for the Izumo. It's flooding, was flooding, it's on fire. Its engine's knocked out, making it an easier target. No, this ship is not going to survive for very long. And since, yeah, my ships are also in retreat. So the Mikasa is retreating, the Katsuragi is retreating, the Izumo and the Sanosawa are retreating. The light cruiser just did jack shit, but is falling back with the rest of the fleet. And the Harukaze and the Kusunoki are also, well, they don't seem to be retreating, but they're basically fleeing the battle. So I'd say that the Americans won this round. Interesting to see how the AI fights against the AI. I was kind of wondering what happens in these sort of random encounters, where you just click auto design and then see how the game designs and what's going to work. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I'd say the Americans won, especially considering how well the Kearsarge and the Lexington are still doing. If they really wanted to, they could easily push against my fleet and completely wipe it out. Anyway, that was all for today. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, then please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. I can really use your help, because I'm very close to doing this full time. And just a couple of bucks a month would really help me out. So if you're willing to give, then please do so through the link down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the battle. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, and I shall see you soon for more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts.